Hello and welcome to the channel. We are here today with the lovely people at MMC Marine to have a look at the XO 10S. Now this is very much an explorer style boat. This one is a full cabin variant, and again these vessels are made from aluminium with a GPR superstructure. So all aluminium right the way through. This bit you can see here is effectively a wrap. It's not made of carbon fibre, but very, very purposeful. Look at that for an entry point. Again, nice bumper, and obviously at some point they can be towed because there's a hook on there. So let us go and have a look on board. This is very much sort of the kind of boat that's designed for a couple, two people to go exploring. Not so much a family boat because there's only technically one full berth and one convertible berth. We start at the back. As you can see here, engine options vary depending on what you want to do and probably your budget. You can start with a single Mercury 250, you can have twin 200s, you can have a single 300, 350 or 400 if you want, and that's the availability currently at the moment. And obviously the performance will vary depending on which engine you go for. But generally speaking, if you took these, you would certainly be looking at a comfortable 40 knots, I would imagine. So very solidly, very quality finished boat. Love these defenders that run the whole way around the end of the platform, and there's another one that runs around effectively the deck joint right the way forwards. Obviously space here so that when you tilt these engines up to keep them out of the water, which is the thing I love about outboard engines, is the engine legs aren't sitting in the water permanently. There's a bit of space for that, and you'll see then there's a bit of fender basket here, little tread plate, and that takes us into this cockpit area. You'll notice that there's some occasional seating here. There's also another occasional seat at the back, and there's a similar seat over here on the starboard side that's folded up, and then there's a foot down here for the table. Now underneath here isn't really storage, it's very much more a case of being access space to things like the fuel tank for the heater and water tank as well, but you could add a few extra bits and pieces down there forward, down there below. And you'll also notice that realistically there isn't a side deck. Now you can tow your way down the rail if you want to, and it's exactly the same on this side. So if you want to get to the cleat, you can do. And this black bit here is a non-slip to make it a little bit easier. And then there is effectively up top this moulded in handrail to help you along. You'll also notice while we're up here, nice big glass sunroof, decent set of air horns, and a folding mast for your GPS aerials and the like. So nice big sliding door. Obviously this is a cabin boat, and the reason that they've negated or taken the side decks out is to maximize the space inside of the cabin. One step down drops you into the cabin, and the first thing you'll notice over on the port side is a dining area, and this is the area that can convert into a second berth if you want it to. And on the starboard side here we have a little galley area, bit of storage below, a self-contained portable gas cooker there. Next to that is a little fold down pop-up tap, nice sink, and again if you want to remove this you can fold this top down and have it as a full working area. As I mentioned, a bit of storage down below in here, a few bits and pieces. And for the sake of it, this seat folds forwards, so you can unpop the popper down there and fold it forward. I'll just quickly show you how that works. And as I mentioned before, there's an infill for here. I think it's under here, that pulls out, and yeah, there you go, that section pulls out, folds into there, and you can add a cushion in. Now we're inside, you can see that big sunroof that we looked at externally, and you can also see how good the visibility is with this glass running all the way around. So obviously glass in the back, side windows moulded right the way forwards to this curved windscreen. We'll come back to this aperture here in a moment, because first thing we're going to have a look at is the driver's area. XO steering wheel, throttle's obviously slightly dependent on the engine manufacturers and whether you go for singles or twins. Bow thruster over here, and some switches I've not seen before, so there's probably the XO's own versions of switches. Footplate down there, fridge below the helm seat, and again quite a decent helm seat here that looks to be slightly spring mitigating or shock mitigating. Pop-up bolster and a proper bucket seat, the kind of seat you really can wedge yourself into, bearing in mind the performance that this vessel carries. Trip switches down there, Garmin VHF, battery switch and anchor window switches in there as well. And also this one, I didn't mention it, but you can see here has got the auto trim system, and then a very, very large Garmin screen. Now for the sake of it, I'm going to take a quick step up on here to give you an idea of what that view looks forward. So you can stand up here and get a pretty good view of what's going on ahead. And then before we head too far forward, we will just cover off this area over here. So you'll notice there's a door handle down here. Pop that open, and in there you have yourself a compact but very usable electric heads. And again, equally somewhere where you can store wet weather gear. Over on the opposite side, just below the helm station, you have a bit more storage, and I'm going to guess, yes, access under here, under this canvas, to the back of the control panel. So if you want to get to any of your switches or any of your wiring up here, you can do. Now you'll notice that there's a big gap here. Now that big gap is twofold. One, it enables you to get forward on the foredeck because there are no side decks, but equally it leads you forward into the cabin. So the fore cabin is in here. You'll notice there's a little step that protrudes up, and that step is to enable you to get to the fore cabin without having to tow down the side decks. If you want to get rid of it, because you want to sleep in here, really simple, lift it up and it drops back down. Little infill cushion goes back over it, and there you have a berth. There's a bit of access to storage underneath there. And I'm going to slide in a little bit and just show you how good or how far back these berths go. As you can see there, both of those berths go back quite a way. There's a bigger cabin than it looks logically, and of course there is no standing headroom in there because of the height of the deck here. But as I did mention, it does give you the ability, if you lift this back up, what you want to do is make sure it's gone up over the top here, pieces like that, because that's going to lock it in, and then you've got your steps to go forward to the foredeck. Once you're up here, it is fairly open, but what you have got, if I take a little run forward, is this entire door panel here then goes forward and closes off that section.
So to open up the bow to get into the front of the boat, all we do is we simply lift up these two handles, lower the window, lift up this fantastic stainless steel design, and the window simply slides. And as it slides, you walk with it. Then we have this step option to get up and out into the boat. And then we simply walk up.
And you can see again, you can choose the teak topping or the deck covering that you want. Really nice and purposeful black rails. And if I turn myself around, and down here we have that anchor windlass, and effectively you throw, it's quite a neat mechanism, you throw that arm over the side, which obviously they're not doing here because we're at a show, and then you've got an electric anchor windlass, some chain and some rope line on there as well. And then externally up here you can now see big floodlight and that large glass sunroof we looked at. So we'll head back inside, say thank you very much to the team at MMC for letting us have a look around. Do please like and subscribe if you like what you've seen, and you can follow these links to see other videos we have on the channel. I'll leave you with a quick look back inside that incredible space for what is a 10-metre Explorer style exo yacht. See you next time round.